What's going on, everybody? It's your favorite YouTuber, Austin Holloman, and we are back again with another daily live stream. And I have a special guest, not from the continent of Africa. We'll let you tell. I'm gonna let him tell you where he's from, but he spent a lot of time on the continent of Africa. He's been doing amazing work in Kenya. I believe he spent the majority of his time in Kenya, but I see he's been in Uganda as well. And he has a unique perspective on Africa. He's had some unique experiences in Africa, similar to what I've had, and I can definitely relate to a few things he went through. But I think the things that he went through were a little more intense. I also saw that he went to Brazil as well. So we're gonna have a conversation with him today about what he thinks about the continent of Africa, and we're gonna compare it to South America and the United States. I'm not gonna spend too much time in the United States, but if you guys have not already, you want to support the content, sign up for the Patreon at patreon.com/AustinHolloman512 and go to theaustinholloman.com to buy a travel guide. If you have any interest in any city that I've been to around the world, Nairobi, Rio de Janeiro, Salvador Bahia, Buenos Aires, Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, I've written travel guides for all those places that I've been to. And I tell you exactly where to go, exactly where to stay, exactly who you need to know, exactly what you need to wear to this club at this day, at this time. And it's just a complete head start. We have nothing but satisfied customers. So if you are interested in that, go to theaustinholloman.com and click on the travel guides and find the city that you want today. Without further ado, we will bring up our guests. We have Coop's Corner. What's going on? How you doing?
What's going on, Austin? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing better than ever.
Nice. So yeah, man, what do the people want to know about Africa?
Well, first we want to know about you. Who are you? What do you do? Where are you from? Where are you at?
So currently in Nairobi, Kenya, guys. It's late. If I'm looking a little bit, you know what I mean? Like it's late right now. Austin wanted to hop on here, so that's what we're doing. My name is Jackson Cooper. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. 37 years young. And yeah, man, like I travel, but like more so right now, I'm just trying to build like a base here in Kenya. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Okay, so I did not know you were 37. I thought you were like my age, closer to 27.
I like that, man. Thank you, man.
Yeah,
Like
I
everything.
literally thought you were around my age. Wow. Okay, so I guess that's the blessing as well. So what made you go to, well, let me go in my order of questions that I have. What made you go to Africa?
Well, my dad, he's very pro-black, so I kind of grew up with like the whole like Africa type vibe thing. So I just always wanted to go, So I took that leap of faith and just made it happen, man. You know what I mean? And like I don't like regret it. Kenya's a good first stop to go to when you are traveling to Africa. And it's just been a good place to me, man. So yeah.
So was Kenya the first country you had been to in Africa?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so what countries have you been to in Africa?
Kenya, South Africa, Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, and Morocco.
And what about outside of Africa?
I've been a lot of places. I've been to the Dominican Republic, Jamaica, um, Colombia, India, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam. The passport's stamped up, man. I've been some places, and like I've been to Belize and other places like that. So,
Okay, so you've been at least 20 countries,
oh yeah, for sure.
30 countries.
Probably around 25.
Okay, around 25 countries. So you're pretty well traveled. Okay, good. So can you describe your initial, you spent the majority of your time in Africa and Kenya, right?
I would say yeah, yep.
Okay, so can you describe your initial impressions of Nairobi when you first arrived?
That's a good one. Um, it was very eye opening to say the least. um, it was just like being like a fish out of water, man. I mean, different type of people, different type of energy. You know what I mean? Different type of vibes. But I mean, it was great. I mean, because once you travel, like in general, excuse
Hmm.
me, you become a foreigner. So like that's already a big advantage. So I just kind of felt that once I got there because people were like, oh, like you're like American. And I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm American. So I just had a good experience, man. And plus, like I had like a nice woman that I met on the ground. So that helped out a lot. You know what I mean? Having like somebody who like knows the landscape and things like that. So yeah.
So what was eye opening about it though? Was it the development? Was it the people? Was it the food?
Yeah. I would say honestly, just me being from where I'm from and just being on the continent. Because like most people that like I grew up with, they don't even leave the city. So me being in Nairobi, Kenya was just like a legendary thing, man. And just yeah, like the food was different. I mean, the seeing all those black people is different. Now there like still are white people here. Like I want people to understand that, but it's going to be less than in the States. So
Oh, of course.
yeah, it was just a good experience.
Okay, so you're in Nairobi now, and you spent a total of how many years or months there? You would say.
I'll say like probably 12 months, like in total over the past 4 years.
Okay, and in what? How has your perception of living in Africa changed over time since you went there? Based off what you thought before, based off of what American media or Western media may show. Actually, I think just the majority of the world, because I've met a woman in Bolivia. She asked me, are there malls in Kenya? And I was like, yeah, like they
Yeah.
got it. They got everything that most other Bolivia is not even developed enough for her to be talking like that. So I don't even know why she would ask me that. But yes, so if a lot of people have that perspective of Africa, so over time, what did your perception of Africa become after that? Because I know it's not all the same, but if you talk about South Africa versus Kenya versus Ghana versus Senegal, what would you say your perception has changed living there?
Mm, um, that's a good question. So I would say that I'm like somewhat jaded right now because like I've been in Kenya so long. So like I don't have the same type of vigor. Like, oh, like I want to go see this and see that. It's like I'm kind of more so going through the motions. But I would say that I'm more comfortable here than in the States. In the States, I just kind of have like a burden on me. Like I don't know like what it is about the States because it's the same thing that I would be doing here that I'll be doing there. But I just feel more free here, man. This is like a perfect analogy like that I typically use. It's like if you look at a lion in the zoo, right? Look at a lion in the
Mhm.
zoo. He's kind of beat down. He's kind of tired all the time, but you can still see that he's a lion. But if you put that same lion out in his natural habitat, he's going to shine. So that's how I feel when I'm in Africa.
I would agree. That's exactly how I felt. It has nothing to do with Africa. What Africa showed me was it had nothing to do with black people. It was just like you said, the states. It's just an energy about the states that's completely different. That and not in a really in a positive way at all. But
Right.
just being able to be around the black people in Tanzania, Ghana, Kenya, and the other places I went to, and it was just peaceful. Nowhere in the world it has is drama free, but it's not. If you've lived in the states, there's a big difference between Kenya drama and Texas drama. There's it's you can step on somebody's shoe in Kenya and you pretty much ain't got to worry about nothing. In the states, at times it could be fatal. So there's a huge difference in those two types of people. So I could agree
Hmm.
with that. So in what ways did you feel welcome or unwelcomed in various communities across East Africa? For example, I never felt unwelcome, but I would say I felt the most welcomed in Kenya and the least welcome in, let's say, Ghana.
Mm, okay. So Kenya, I mean, yeah, like it's kind of obvious for me. Excuse me, like I'm getting over a cold. It's kind of obvious for me that Kenya, I feel the most welcome. Um, I don't know, man. Like, if we're gonna talk for real, like first it started with the women for me, and they were just very. open to me. They were just open to my style and everything. So I'm like, okay, this is cool. You know, like that was the same in the States, but like as you know, like it's still different. So then we get into more like the cultural part of it. I feel very welcome. People want to show me around, let me experience new foods and things like that. And you said Ghana was your least welcoming. So my least welcoming in Africa would probably be uh, probably the border, man. When I was trying to get to Uganda, that was crazy. So,
Can you elaborate more on what happened there?
oh man. So I wanted to take the bus, man, because I'm trying to save some money up. You know what I mean? Like traveling is not cheap, guys.
Mhm.
That's why I do have my Cash App there. Hey, support the channel, guys. Like I'm telling you. So yeah, I took the bus to Uganda and pretty much got extorted, man. So I got to the border. Yo, these people were musty, bro. And like, I just gotta be honest. This is all in my live too, guys. So already kind of came too clean. People were saying like, Jackson, like you're too clean going out there. I was like, man, whatever. But like you kind of do got to dress down when you're like riding the bus and crossing that border, guys, because like they can smell it on me that I wasn't from there. So they like extorted me out of money. I almost had a gun drawn on me, kind of, sort of. Um, just a bunch of just hassling, man. And I mean, people in my face, breaths were stinking. I'm like, I mean, it was crazy, man. Like, so I would say the border of Uganda, but the actual country of Uganda was lovely. I loved it.
Have you ever experienced anything similar to anything like that outside the States? Like I experienced something similar to that when I was in Brazil, my first trip.
Going across the border, let me think. Kind of. I would say when I was in Dominican Republic, um, I was getting a lot of we'll just say like blackmail vibes. Like a lot of people want to blackmail you out in like the DR. Now, like I know people like the Dominican Republic. I don't have nothing against them, but I was just getting a lot of situations to where people wanted money for like the smallest of exchanges. So
So I've experienced that. I would say a lot in Africa. I haven't been to the DR, but in Latin America, I really haven't experienced that. But I would say when I was in Africa, even when I remember one time I was in Kenya and the guy, I was trying to find a cart to put my 2 suitcases in my carry-on bag in. And he's like, "Oh, I'll bring you one." And he's like, "I'll help you push it down there." And you know that I already knew that was about to be some bullshit. So then he was like pushing it for maybe 2 minutes. And he was like, "So can you give me a tip?" I was like, "Yeah, what's your M-Pesa?" And I'm just asking. I'm like, "So how much do you want?" He said, "If it was up to me, it'd be $20." I was like, $20? Nobody in the States would even charge me that much. So little stuff
mm,
like that, them changing the price on the food, and you just heard the person in front of you. If you're buying food off the street, they might change the price. Little stuff like that. I've been extorted in Kenya before too. So
really,
yeah, I've been extorted at the mall.
what
In
happened?
I was recording my shoes. I had just got my shoes cleaned at the little cleaning stations that I love, that they have that all over Kenya, that you can get your shoes cleaned everywhere. But I
Right.
was getting my shoes clean and I was filming for my vlog. I wasn't recording anything because I know you can't record around, the malls and stuff like that. So I recorded my shoes and I just put my camera up and I started to walk off. And then somebody grabbed me on my shoulder and was like, "Come in the room with us." And it was a cop. Well, it was one of those military officers. I went in there, and then he brings in 2 other officers, and then they just start questioning me and start asking me how much is my camera, and that we can throw you in jail for recording. I was like, "Let me show you the video. I'll just record my shoes." So then they wanted like, I think it was like $70 or $80, but I had a Kenyan guy with him, and he just said, "Oh, like I only have 1,500 shillings in my M-Pesa," and he thought he was lying, but he showed him. So they ended up going from $70 to the equivalent of like $10 to split. So they both got 500 shillings each, which is the equivalent of like what, $5, $6 a piece or something like that. So
Yeah,
they
yeah.
extorted. So they broke the law for $5 or $6 for lunch, basically.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Because they probably knew that you were American. You know, they can tell. That's like one thing too. Like, do you think that because people say, "Oh, you know, Jackson, maybe they don't know that you're a Black American," but then again, I'm thinking like we have a completely different style. Like we kind of carry ourselves differently. So like, do you think that people know that you're a Black American without you even speaking?
In Kenya, they do. I mean, I've ran into a lot of Kenyans that were like, "Are you Kenyan? You know, you need to get your blood checked. You may be Kenyan." I heard a lot of them say that, but I was like, I don't think I look like y'all. Like I know we're all like black essentially, but like I don't think I look Kenyan. I thought now when I went
Yeah,
to Ghana and Sierra Senegal, I could see more people that looked similar to me there. But
yeah.
in Kenya, I don't think I looked Kenyan, but I guess they're from Kenya, so maybe they know better than I do. But they do know that we are Black American because of the way how we walk, the English that we use. It's different
Mhm.
than their English. Uh, we do have a unique look about us. Our swag is different. Let's just say that.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. 100%. And the thing is with Kenyans, man, they don't really have like a negative attitude. So like if I was to like joke around with some of them, because like I tell some of them like, yo, like some of y'all be musty, right? They don't get mad. They just say, all right, like maybe I gotta use some like deodorant or something. But like I met a guy from Liberia, and he told me to my face, he said that Black Americans don't have culture. I was like, whoa. So that right there should show people that Africa is a continent comprised of 54 countries. So don't just think that every single country is the same. So
It,
yeah.
it's not, and I would say the same for Latin America, the same for Europe. They might be similar, but nowhere is the same when you're talking about continents. And I would agree. I think the rumor about Africans don't like Black Americans, I think that's exclusive to like West Africa, like not
Mm,
like Nigeria. I've heard Nigerians like say that we're copying them. They're the original niggas, I guess you want to say. I don't know. I've heard them say stuff like that. And
yeah.
but I don't hear Kenyans or Tanzanians talk like that. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, like I'm with you 100% actually because and see like you kind of got to look at it by proxy. So if you look at West Africa, they're going to be closer to us, right? So East Africa is like kind of so far removed from us that they can't be racist. But we got to remember those Somalians, man, because they got words for us. They call us Jareers and all that type of stuff. So
Them too. Yeah, I've
um,
heard about them too. Yeah.
yeah, but like Kenyans and Tanzanians, nah, it's cool. Like and like Ugandans and like Rwandans, like those are all like the cool East African countries. So
Yeah. We got some people in the comments that said I'm wrong. Trust me, I'm not just pulling it out of my ass. I'm saying this off of experience of what I've heard and seen myself. So what unique challenges have you faced as a Black American living in Kenya?
mm, unique challenges. Well, dealing with the food, man. The food can be different, guys. Like what I would say is this. Like on your first trip, you might get excited and want to try a bunch of stuff. I'm telling you, man. Our stomachs are different than their stomachs. So you kind of gotta get prepared to just eat slowly. And I can just speak for myself because like I'm like a skinny dude anyway. Um so like food, I would say like certain like cultural like differences like let me think. Just hearing like a bunch of Swahili instead of hearing English. You got to get your ears used to that. But other than that, man, it's a pretty cool like adjustment. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, it's not too many complaints. I think the only complaints that I would say, or the only struggles I had about being in Kenya were sometimes, them trying to get over. But compared to the other 6 countries I went to, Kenya,
Mm-hmm.
I stayed in Kenya because whatever problems there were in Africa, they were the least when I was in Nairobi. Like I
Mm,
experienced the least amount of scams. I experienced the least amount of begging. They for sure begged there, but I experienced it the least there. The least amount of power outages, the least amount of mosquitoes that in places like Tanzania it's crazy. Like I think
bruh.
somebody has done that on purpose over there. Like there has to be some sort of genetically modified mosquito they dropped off over there by the millions. Because I mean,
Right.
those mosquitoes are designed to fly in your ear and in your eyes.
Really?
They would only fly in my ears and in my eyes and my nose. I I haven't experienced that anywhere in the world but Africa.
So let me tell you about because I went to Dar es Salaam. Where'd you go when you went to Tanzania?
Dar es Salaam.
All right, so listen, man, that was the hottest city that I've ever been to out of all the places that I visited. How about you?
Hmm.
Like,
It,
go ahead. I'm
it
sorry.
was up there. It was up there, but I think the city I'm in right now is the hottest city I've been to.
Where you at?
I'm in Asuncion, Paraguay.
Paraguay. Nice. How is it out there?
Right now it's actually cold. It's winter time here, but the city is pretty boring. I'm actually about to leave here tomorrow to go to a different city. But it's okay. It's good for me to do this, for me to not feel like I'm missing out on much by sitting in the house doing interviews all day. So it serves its purpose.
Right. Right. People like to play around like on the internet and stuff. And can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Uh-oh, his internet fell off. We got a super chat. Oh, there he goes. Before I bring him back in, let me read this super chat. Salute, brothers. Wow, interesting stories that Africans take advantage of other black people. I wonder how much worse they do white people. Travel lover, let's not make this a race thing. Let's just say anybody can go to Africa and get scammed. But yeah, what were you saying?
Yeah, so I was like pretty much telling people, man, like this isn't normal, guys. I know that we see certain people like on the internet and we think, oh, it's just some black people traveling. Austin just said that he's in Paraguay. Like, thank God that I am pretty good at my geography. Like I know where Paraguay is at, but there's black people that don't know where that is. So
Mm-hmm.
we can't take this for granted. People like to take stuff for granted. Like, oh, I'm just going to Mexico. I'm just going to Canada. Listen, me personally, I think anytime that you stamp your passport, you're doing something big. So I always had that mindset that no matter where you go, you could be going to the Bahamas, anywhere. You're doing something big and doing something legendary. So everybody out there listening, man, get out there, travel, and live your life, man. For real, live your life.
Okay, yeah, we got some people in the comments that say, yeah, it's the country next to Uruguay. There's some people saying that you can get scammed anywhere in the world. I'm very well aware of that. I'm not an idiot. But the reason I bring that up when I bring it up about Africa is because in Africa, it seems that it's on a whole nother level there, especially when you get to West Africa. West
Mm,
Africa, I noticed the scamming was just like it was I could only tolerate it for a couple weeks, and I was like, yeah, it's time to go back to Kenya, where you getting begged and scammed every now and then. Stuff happens, but I still love Kenya. I'll be back. I still got on my bracelet. I've been wearing it for 8, 9 months now. So, can you, huh?
Nah, bro, that's lit. Yeah, man. Like Kenya's different, man. Kenya's different.
Yeah, yeah. So, can you share any positive experiences that made you feel particularly connected to the local culture in Kenya?
Local culture.
For me, it was like how friendly and how the social setting there. Everybody liked to socialize. That's what made me feel
Yeah,
connected.
yeah, that's true. And like that's funny because I'm not the biggest social guy. Um, but I could tell people about always tell them about like the experience that changed my life, which happened in Kenya. I was in Diani Beach, Kenya, and I was riding a camel, and I had a beautiful East African girl in front of me, Indian Ocean to the left, palm trees to the right. And I told myself, Jackson, you can never go back to living a regular life. Now, what do I say a regular life is? That's just sitting around Columbus, Ohio, saying, maybe like one day things will get better. You know what I mean? I just knew like this was it, man. Like you can really come from anywhere and make it happen. So I would just say like experiences, man. Going to Mombasa, going to Diani, going to Watamu, um, legendary country, man. And like I've only really scratched the surface of Kenya. I haven't even really done everything yet. So yeah.
Yeah. So what you? So you've been to Mombasa. You've been to Matambo. Have you been to Nakuru?
I haven't been to anywhere that's not on the coast yet, other than
Hmm.
Nairobi, which sucks. I know
Hmm.
people say, "Oh, Jackson, you gotta." I know, but I'll get there. Right now, we're like working on stuff. So, but I haven't been. Have you been?
I've been to Mombasa and Nakuru, and of course Nairobi.
Okay.
I like not. You know, people who were saying like, "Oh, go to my." Even the Kenyans are like, "Go to Mombasa. Go to. It's so lit there. Go to Mombasa." And I got there and I was like, "What are they talking?" I mean, I don't. I mean, I don't know. I went there and I'm like, they're like, "Oh, well, you went on a Wednesday and a Thursday," and I'm like, "Yeah, but Wednesday and Thursday in Nairobi, it's a lot going on."
It is.
So they made
Nairobi's
it seem
different.
like Mombasa was just the next level above, and I was like, no, I think Nairobi is kind of undefeated on a world level. Like
Yeah.
I think Nairobi is
Talk
one
to
of the best
them.
cities in the world.
Talk. Hey, see. Now that's not like this is good. But let me like say something about Mombasa first. So when I went to Mombasa, it was lit. Now we did go for my birthday, so that was on New Year's, like around like New Year's. But as far as Nairobi, I just want to tell people that y'all might want to like get out here now because there's a lot of foreigners coming here because this city's about to be like a London, like a Cape Town. I'm telling you now. So you might want to come out here now, make it happen, try to find a business or something because Nairobi is about to be crazy, man.
Yeah, yeah. Nairobi is definitely. I think it's already what 6 million people there, and
Yeah.
it's got a lot of growing to do, and the growing is in progress. It's on its way. So,
Yeah.
how do you navigate? How is the safety in Nairobi?
Man, thank God I've never witnessed night robbery. That's what they say. They say, Jackson, this is night robbery, man. You got to be careful. Yeah, you do have to be careful, but I just use my smarts, man. Um, Andre from Loves Crossing Borders, he always says, pack your common sense with you. So that's what I tend to do. Just like move with common sense, always be aware. I don't like drink or smoke, never have. So like I'm always on point.
That's good.
And yeah, man, just kind of just stay to yourself, man. Like not like stay to yourself, like being like antisocial, but like make sure that you're safe, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Like you said, pretty much pack your common sense. In my opinion, man, you don't really have anything to worry about in Nairobi, especially when it comes to violent crime. I think the worst that could happen to you is somebody snatch your phone.
Yep, that's it.
Like one of the chicks I knew in Nairobi. This never happened to me, but one of the chicks I knew in Nairobi, she uh she was in a car and a guy opened the door, like forced the door open. She was trying to hold it shut and he forced the door open, but he wasn't gonna harm her. I don't really hear about them harming people that often, at least in Nairobi. Yeah, I know crime happens there, but not where you'll be at. Not in Westlands. Not in Kilimani. Not in Strathmore
Killing Rachel.
University area. You don't really have to worry about that in those areas. So
Right.
precautions. What are some precautions you would advise somebody, I guess, that has no idea on how to avoid it?
Uh, don't be stupid. First and
Mhm.
foremost, like I said, use your common sense if you have common sense. I would um I would avoid like staying in just one place at one time. So me, like I always like to be moving. Like being stagnant is like a good way to get robbed because then people can pinpoint you. But if you're moving around, like walking with a purpose, looking like you at least know where you're going, you'll be good. Of course, don't wear jewelry. I mean, there's really no point in wearing jewelry like that. But like I've actually seen dudes wear jewelry here, but you could tell that they're like from like Nigeria or something. So that's a little different. Um, yeah, man, just be smart, man. That's it. Just be smart.
Really? Okay. See, I've always worn jewelry in Nairobi, and I didn't. Again, I never felt like I was even close to danger.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
I'm with you. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
it was true. It wasn't like Brazil, where
Oh
like
my God.
if you're gonna wear jewelry, you need to proceed with caution doing it. It's like wearing jewelry in Brazil is like running a red light. Like it's kind of whatever happens that's very possible can damn sure happen. So let me read a couple of these super chats. Wiseman 91 sent $5. So what's the difference between East Africa and West Africa's infrastructure, and does Kenya still experience power outages?
Well, Wise man, I haven't been to West Africa yet, really because I haven't gotten that yellow fever vaccine. But yes, Kenya does get power outages, but it's not that bad though. It lasts for like an hour.
Yeah, it's not like Nigeria, from what I've heard, where everybody pretty much has a generator and gas generators and stuff like that, and they'd be out all day. Tanzania has plenty of power outages. Not as bad as Nigeria, from what I've heard. In Kenya, only time I experienced a power outage was at the gym, in the restaurant that was connected to the gym, and it'd be out for 2 or 3 hours, maybe twice a month. So. But West Africa's infrastructure versus East, I would say I only went to Ghana and Senegal. I would say East Africa, if we want to talk about in specific, like Nairobi. Nairobi is far ahead of a place like Senegal, and a place like Ghana, in my opinion. That's why I always vouch for Kenya. I think Kenya is just the best spot to start at. So Will sent $10. Well, I know Austin's young, not sure about Coop, but he said he was 36, 37. Are y'all just enjoying life and having fun? Or are you looking for a wife? Come on, man. We look. Y'all ask me this question probably 10 times a day. I'm gonna forever enjoy life. I can't be looking for a wife, jumping to a different country more than once a month. So whenever I decide to settle, ask me that again. I appreciate the super chat, but yeah, this channel is not about finding a wife. So this is just about travel and the social experiment of that. So, what regions in Kenya would you say are a must visit for someone moving there?
Man, I would say all over, honestly, but yeah, like you want to start in Nairobi. You want to start in Nairobi because you don't want to be too, into the mix. And when you're these freaking comments are distracting, but yeah, you want to start in Nairobi. That's a good spot. I mean, you possibly could start in Mombasa. Maybe you like the beach vibes better. That might be a good choice for you. But I would say start in Nairobi.
Well, the one reason I think I wasn't too impressed with Mombasa is because since I went to the beaches in Rio and Salvador and Recife, which Recife's beaches really weren't all that, but I can't help but to compare when I go to those places. So when I went to Salvador Bahia's beaches, and it's just hundreds of people, and they all playing music, and they all drinking. And then I go to Kenya, and I'm looking for a mile this way, a mile that way. It's only Auston on the beach, and I'm like, damn, that's different. I go to Thailand. I'm like, it's just 80-year-old people out here just basking in the sun like a bunch of reptiles. That was different than when I was in Brazil. The beach was a club.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
I've been to Brazil.
Yeah, so it was completely different there. So you kind of already explained this a little bit, but the next question I had was, have you had any experiences with corruption and how did you handle them? And you kind of already covered that when you first started, right?
Yeah, because I mean, I've never had any corruption in Kenya, but I guess you could say that border is Kenya because it's the Kenya-Uganda border. That was very corrupt. It left a very bad taste in my mouth. But other than that, man, like I said, just try to avoid land borders if you can fly. Because I flew from Kenya to Rwanda just to avoid that border. So yeah, that's my answer.
Yeah, I'm very hesitant about traveling country to country by land anywhere I go, and unless if I'm in Europe, I can do it in Europe, but and maybe Asia, but Africa, South America, even North America, I wouldn't go by land from Texas to Mexico. I just wouldn't do it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe it's certain places. Like I go from land border from Maine to Canada or something like that. But from your perspective, how does the political climate in Kenya affect your daily life as an expat or in locals? Or like, what are some things that locals experience that you would experience too? For example, and this isn't too political, but we're going to talk about the import fees. I had a sponsorship with Tej Hanley. Their kit was worth $45. I had it
Mm-hmm.
mailed in. They paid, since they were the sponsor, they sent it for free. They paid for the shipping. And when I got to the post office, they had me Google it to see the value. I had to pay another $45 for taxes. So I had to pay for the product again. Then I'm thinking I'm about to walk out. She's like, "Oh, we'll walk over here and you got to pay the post office now." So I had to pay them another $7. Not 70,
Mm-hmm.
$7. So I had to pay $52 just in fees. So essentially, if I was a local Kenyan, because the shipping was also the same cost as the value of the product, the shipping was also about $45. So you would pay for that face wash more than 3 times if you
Yeah.
wanted to buy that specific face wash. Do you have
Yeah.
any similar things in Kenya that you experienced that the locals experience that you would experience as an expat because of the politics there?
Yeah. Like that just happened to me. So I work with a clothing brand too, and typically they ship DHL, but this time they had to ship through the postal service. So I was thinking, okay, this should be cool. So I went down to the post office off of Holly Salisi down here in CBD. And these people said, yeah, so like the value of these shoes is 69.99, and the value of these shoes is, so I'm like, okay, like, yeah, like then they took my brand new shoes, 2 pair, out of the box and were touching them with their hands. And I mean, like, I'm very particular on people touching my stuff. So like that already just threw me off. Like in America, that would never happen. But I'm like, okay, Jackson, you can clean them, it's cool. Then he was like, yeah, that's gonna be $99, I guess like a fee or something. I literally looked at him in his face and I walked away because I didn't like pay for those shoes. Like I said, like I'm like working with a company. So they said, Jackson, like it's okay, we're gonna ship them DHL. But I just wasn't dealing with that. Like it's just like that's like a weird thing, bro. To me, like having somebody open up your brand new shoes, touch them, and then want you to pay like extra for customs. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that corruption can be extreme in Africa. There's corruption everywhere, but I've experienced a lot there, and it can work in your favor or against you. Either you end up experiencing both. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. So, what local customs or traditions have you adopted into your daily life that Kenyans practice?
I don't want to lie. Local customs. I just like to say Sasa for some reason. I just like saying Sasa. Like, we got to be honest. Uh, well, like I have a Kenyan mate, so just being around her, like I probably just like adopted certain things. I can't really think of them like off like the top of my head, but I would just say like the Kenyan women, Kenyan woman, and I feel like that's like a powerful thing because she's actually because Kenyans don't look at the world the way we look at it, right? So when I tell her stuff about Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, like she's like learning stuff. So
Mhm,
she's more like instead of being tribal, I'm trying to get her to think more black because like once she leaves Kenya, she's not Kenyan, she's black. So
mhm, mhm.
um I just feel like what I'm doing, like with that situation, could be potentially powerful for people to see because a lot of Kenyans are going with Mzungus, white people, um, and I feel like seeing like a Black American and a Black Kenyan is just a dope thing. So that's something cultural that I'm doing that's pretty dope.
And Kenya is one of those places as a Black American where you don't really feel out of place dating one of the women from there.
Nah,
Like, for example, whenever I was in Romania or I'm in Thailand or somewhere in Asia or Argentina, it kind of feels a little out of place. Like it feels like you have that subconscious, or I wouldn't even say subconscious, the conscious thought of like, oh, I'm out with a different race. Even though Kenyans are from the other side of the world, different nationality, it doesn't really feel like you out of place. Like it feels like you're just with another black woman from the States, even though they're nothing alike. So could you discuss any cultural misunderstandings you've encountered and how you resolved them?
Mm. Yeah, just I would say be understanding. So I've had some cultural things that I didn't understand, and I would ask questions. I would say, so, what are your customs here? Like, what am I doing wrong or what am I doing right? And you know, I would just adjust from there because see, like my thing is always this. When I'm in a foreign country, I don't ever assume to be right about anything, even if I quote unquote am right, because I'm in their home. So I'm always on like a mindset of learning
Mm-hmm.
and asking questions. So that's some of the major things people should take from travel is just, come with an open mind. I know that we can be arrogant as like Americans without even knowing that we're being arrogant. We just have like a natural arrogance. But I would just say ask questions and just be open minded.
Well, I'll give you an example of mine. Is this isn't to Kenya, but I would just say Africa in general. Africans eat with their hands. And
Mm.
when I was in Africa, and when I was in Tanzania, and I seen it for the first time, and it's a guy and we're sharing a plate, and I'm like, yo, I'm not eating out of that. Like, I'm not eating with you like that. That's
That's
not. And
real.
I told him, I was like, that's disgusting. That's not sanitary at all. And to them, that culturally, that's how they do it. But to me, that's not. I couldn't, and I let him finish the food. I played it smooth. I waited till he was done. I was like, I'm not hungry. I waited till he was
Yeah.
done eating. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm hungry now. Let me go ahead and order me one. I'm not sharing with you. So luckily, I will say about Africans in East Africa, if they're gonna eat with their hands, they at least have washing stations everywhere where you wash
Oh
your
yeah.
hands. If they even bring a bowl and they bring the soap and the water and they have you wash your hands and they bring the food, thank God. If they didn't do that, I would never eat there. But I'm like, okay, they make people wash their hands. That's fine. Okay, I mean, eventually I'm not gonna ever adjust to that part of the culture, but maybe I could, but I'm telling you I won't. So, how accessible is healthcare for expats in Kenya?
Austin, Gringo, Coops, Mazungu. What'd you say again, Austin? Like, I'm sorry. What'd you say?
How accessible is healthcare for expats in Kenya?
Mm, I would say it's very accessible. Thank God, knock on wood, I don't have too many health problems, but I did have a crazy situation back in what was this 2021. I had to get a COVID test. Never forget this, and I had to go to Nairobi West. Now you got to remember, like 2021 was when I first started traveling to Kenya, so I went in there to get the test, and like these people shoved that thing like all the way up my nose. I'm like. I'm like, could you like please not do that? She said, okay, like I have to do like the next nostril. She shoves it up further. So I kind of voiced my opinion. We'll just say that. I was with my girl Wangeshi, and she said that she's never seen me act like that, but um that's like my only experience with the healthcare system in Kenya. And that was crazy. It's like she was trying to like jam that thing into my brain. It was crazy, man.
Damn. Well,
Yeah.
I tell you, the only experience that I had with healthcare in Africa was in Nairobi, and I went to get a checkup. I went to get my blood drawn and a swab done. Just something I do every couple months because I am single. So I
Mhm.
I was getting it done, and surprisingly, there's a little well, it's an adult show. We got adults watching this show. The little Q-tip that they put in there. I'm used to the nurse doing it, but they told me to do it, and I'm like, oh, in the United States they would do this for me, but I
Right.
guess, yeah, I don't think I did that right on purpose. I'm not brave enough to do that, but
Yeah.
it was. I didn't really. I guess you could use insurance over there, but they charged me like more than they would have in the States of like $120, and it wasn't a scam because the prices were on the wall. But
Right.
yeah, I would say healthcare is pretty accessible for expats, but I'm not really too sure about the insurance there. So in terms of community and social life, how easy is it to build new friendships and networks in Kenya? And for me, it was very easy.
Yeah, I mean, being a content creator is it's kind of like a cheat code because people tend to reach out to you. Um, yeah, I mean, people just reach out and like I just keep looking at this freaking comment section. Like, you got some crazy trolls and guys. Like, it's late here, so like my energy may not be all the way up to par. But yeah, man. People are cool, man. Like they like want to learn your culture. And yeah, like it's not hard at all. Like if you're not like a weird person, but if you're like a weird person, like it's gonna be hard to meet people anywhere you go. So
Yeah, I would say in Africa in general, it's very well. Let me say East Africa, because I didn't experience it the same way in Zambia. I mean, it was all right. Africa has been the easiest place for me to form social circles because most of them speak English.
right.
So that always makes it 10 times easier. But it seems like they're all, and they might want something out of you. They might want something out of you. But I mean, it's still easy to form a social circle, and they're very outgoing. So, what opportunities for investment have you explored in Kenya?
Yeah, well, that's what I want to talk about now. So like if anybody's coming to Nairobi, we have a travel company, me and my significant other. People like to travel, but people don't always have a guide. So pretty much we're gonna have like a touring type situation. Uh, so anybody coming to Nairobi, you don't want to be around some weird people who don't really know what they're doing. They're not really like, really like fly like that. You might want to come holler at me and my girl. She's a Kenyan, and I'm gonna give you the Black American perspective. And you're gonna have the best experience, man. So like that's like my like investment right there is pretty much investing into myself, and then just making something happen just from my like experiences in Kenya. But yeah, I mean, like of course you have like real estate opportunities you can do. Um, I like work with a hair transplant company here.
Really?
Um, yeah, I got like my hair back in Kenya, man. And like it's like so crazy because they're like just cool people besides getting like a hair transplant. I've been to his home, ate dinner, met his family. So salute to Dr. Babu. If anybody out here is going to Turkey to get their hair transplant stopped at, like you want to go somewhere to where they know black Afro hair and to where they won't over harvest your donor area. Because like I know men, maybe you don't want to talk about having a hair transplant, but like at my age, it happens. Austin has like a full head of hair, so he doesn't have to worry about that. But I know it's men out there that are looking for that. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. All the tailors that I had in Kenya, that I always got invited out to dinners with them. I've been to one of my tailors in Tanzania. I went to his house. We would always kick it. It was all like, again, it's very easy to network
Yeah.
and very social there. It's Africa really has its own little touch, man. So let me read a couple of super chats really quick.
Okay.
Ben Akin says, "Black guy, I want to play around, then settle after a few years. Which two should I pick? South Africa, Colombia, Brazil, Philippines, Kenya, DR, or Chile? That's a lot of options. So if you want to play around for a few years and then settle, Brazil's a good place for that. And would you say it's easy to find a serious girlfriend in Nairobi? Because I don't think so.
Woo, that's a good question. And guys, I have gotten no cash yet, man. Listen, man. Salute to Austin for having me on. But support the channel, guys. Come on, man. $ Coops Corner. Now, Austin, I feel like I wouldn't say that I got lucky, but I would say that I met a person who we vibe very well. And like I'm still with her today. But as far as you and like you saying that it's not easy, I could agree. Cause like she's rare, bro. I don't know, man. Like Kenyan women are good women. Let me preface it by saying that. But they can be a little bit I mean, kind of like any woman, like they're gonna want something for something. So, they want you to take them out to dinner, they want this and that. But I feel like the dessert, we'll just say that is worth the price of dinner. I'll just say that.
I would say that too. So thank you for the super chat. Falcon Black sent £5. So have you guys been on a safari? How was it? Would you go? I went to the safari that's in the southern part of Nairobi. What is it? The Nairobi National Park. I think that's what it's called. I went to that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And let me say salute to Jermaine for the Cash App. Salute to you, Jermaine. I appreciate you.
The next one is how was it? It was very. I paid about $200 to have my own car that I didn't drive. My own car, and they fed us before we went on the safari, and we got really close to the animal, really, really close to the lions and stuff like that. Close enough where they could probably kill you. So it was. If you're talking about that experience, if you're getting that close, you get a good experience. We got to see a good amount of animals while we were there too, and.
Yeah.
Riley E sent $5 for. I hear Kenyan women love money. Is it a sugar dating culture there, similar to Miami? I don't think it's similar to Miami, but they do love that. That money is important, I would say. What do you think?
Man, let me kick some real game and stop playing with these people, man. So people like to look at YouTube and think this is some false reality. No, this is a real person on a screen. So let me tell you this. You need money anywhere you go in the world. And women need provision anywhere you go in the world. So it's all about how you lead with your money. The same way with fire. You can use fire to heat up a house, or you could use fire to burn down a house. So with the money, you can lead it by tricking, or you can lead it by, look, the girl's gonna already see that you got money even without even showing her a dime. Like girls can smell it on you. So you having that mindset talking about, oh, like girls just want your money, like that's like a weak mentality. So like you should just lead with just being yourself, and like you'll be good, bro. Like don't even worry about the whole money thing. And like if you don't have money, just work hard to get the money.
Yeah, it matters, but in Kenya, I like the Kenyan women a lot because I can vibe with them. I don't even notice how much money I'm really spending with them until they done got me down the line. So it's just they're very entertaining to be around. I would say that. So how does the cost of living in Kenya compare to other places you live?
And salute to Wilshire for the Cash App. Austin Holloman got that chat popping, man. So you said cost of living. Let's see. Cost of living. Well, see, that's a good question. So like right now, guys, Kenya is like we said earlier, Kenya is becoming a top-notch city. So therefore, prices are going through the roof for certain things. And like if you want to stay somewhere nice like Kileleshwa, Kilimani, Westlands, you're gonna pay some money. It's just that simple. Now you can have that real African experience and stay somewhere Run Guy or something like that. But typically us Americans, we want to have modern amenities and things like that. So Kenya's expensive. I'm gonna just say it. Kenya's expensive. As far as like renting, but like food and stuff, if you know like a local, like you're good. Like I eat like Mandazis for 10 shillings. That's like what, like a penny or something. So yeah. Jay Abdi, what are you doing in here, girl? Jay Abdi, what are you doing in here? Sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good. Okay, so can you elaborate on the business environment and what someone should know before starting a business there?
Absolutely. So before starting a business, you have to be business minded, right? So one thing that I can give Austin credit, and like this is my first time talking to Austin. Excuse me, guys. This is my first time talking to him, but one thing that I can give Austin credit on is image. And even if I didn't know him, I would just look at his image and be like, okay, like he's like a crisp dude. So image matters. People may say, oh no, Jackson, you don't have to wear a suit to do this and that. You don't, but if you do wear a suit or do wear a shirt with a collar, you're going to have a completely different outcome. I'm telling you right now, like that stuff matters. So I would say have your hygiene game proper, have your talk game proper. And and just come with an open mind and just a business mindset, and people will want to work with you, man. I promise you, people want to work with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree. In Africa in general, you have to. That's why my image changed when I got there. Because when I got around that environment, I was like, okay, I'm not in Asia no more. I'm not at the beach in Salvador anymore. I actually had to put on real clothes to what seems like 7 days a week. Like you got to stay clean because the women are clean like that. The women are very well, very. I think Kenyan women are some of the most well dressed women in the world from where I've been. Very well dressed, and the men dress well. I think the men might dress a little better in Tanzania, but uh, yeah, the men are proper too. But I think in Tanzania, I seen more men wearing business casual and suits and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, Africa will make you step your game up when it comes to that. So if you want to dress sloppy, I mean, you gonna get sloppy results. So what advice would you give someone looking to move to Kenya regarding housing and accommodation?
Honestly, I would say know somebody on the ground so that you can build something here. I wouldn't really want to rent too much in Kenya. My plan is to build from the ground with my partner because she's Kenyan. So, I mean, it's just a lot of opportunities, man. I mean, you have high rises sprouting up every day, but the only thing about those high rises, guys, is that they're being built by the Chinese. I don't want to say too much because this is not my channel, but China, man, China's taking over here, man. I mean, it's crazy. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I noticed that at first in Dar es Salaam, they're very rude to their employees. Very rude. Very
yeah,
rude. They talk to them like they're slaves. I've seen it.
yeah.
So, how has your experience been with local laws and regulations when it comes to everyday life?
It's a good question. Let me answer something that somebody put really quick in your chat. Somebody said that somebody should go to Kenya to get their wardrobe. I wouldn't say that. I would say the best place to get your wardrobe, like if you really want to be cost effective, is Vietnam or like Bangkok. But I would say Hoi An, Vietnam. You can get some suits for like the low that are pretty good. So, but as far as laws, like I'm like scared of jail, bro. So I don't break laws wherever I go. Like I don't, jail is not nothing that's cool to me. It's not tight. It ain't none of that. So um I just try to walk the straight and narrow, brother, like at all times. Um and just I don't like get into stuff. I know that may seem boring. I haven't been to any club since I've been here. I know people want to see nightlife videos, but I just avoid stuff, man, because I know what can happen, if that makes sense.
I would say this in Kenya, well, in Africa, East Africa in general, you really won't have too many issues in clubs. It's like those people. I mean, people start showing out when they get drunk, but in Kenya, I didn't. Kenya and Tanzania, that stuff was at a bare minimum compared to Texas, or Memphis, or Detroit. The issues that you have. Like I started with earlier, you step on somebody's shoe, and it's a big deal in the States. Or dudes are trying to fight you behind women. That really, I mean, I've gotten into a fight behind a girl in Kenya before, but that's not really an issue that you really have it's not something that I would warn somebody about. It's not too big of a deal if you go there, in my opinion. So, could you share insight in the expat community that's in Kenya? How cohesive is it, or how diverse is it? Is it mostly black, of course, or is it a lot of whites or a lot of Hispanics?
Mm, um, there is an expat community, but on this trip, it seems like it's non-existent. I mean, yeah, it's just not a lot of Black Americans. Now, as far as like Asian expats, like people from China, yeah, that's a community right there. And like I said, and like this is like one thing that I like tell Kenyans. I say like y'all should be very careful on who you guys let in because in like 100 years they could say that Kenya like Kenyans are Chinese people because like all of us would be dead. So they could just say like we're like the real Kenyans. Cause like they're like coming in by the boatloads, bro, and like they're like building everything here. So that means Kenya is in debt to China. So I would say the biggest expat community here is the Chinese, bar none. Scary.
Yeah. Now, I mean, when I was in Kenya, man, I knew a lot of black. I was around a lot of Black Americans when I had plenty of Kenyan friends there too. But there
Hmm.
were a lot of Black Americans, especially because when I was hanging around Troy, he knew a lot of expats and he knew a lot of tourists that were coming to Kenya for short periods of time. But
Mm.
there were a lot of us like I didn't get any wow factors like, oh, you're an American. Like the chicks there seemed like they might as well have been in America. Like they were used to seeing Americans there. I would say, and the local men too. They weren't too shocked. I would say that. So, what are some common misconceptions people have about living in Kenya that you'd like to address?
Well, for starters, Africa's not all dirt roads. And hey, man, I don't know who this like Floyd guy is that y'all are saying, that people are talking about cash apps. And listen, the top, and like I'm not like addressing like the chat, but like I'm trying to like get you guys to understand how people move. So if you support somebody's content, you're going to donate to them. That's not a we as black people have like a thing with that.
He fell off. Give him just a minute. Let me bring up the super chat while he's waiting on him to come back. What's good, brothers? What's the average income in Kenya? I believe it's $200 or $300, but let me look that up really quick while we're waiting on him. What is the average salary in Kenya? 100 to 300, 100, let's just say 30,000 shillings, which is super poor. And keep in mind, like 10,000 shillings is like 1,000 shillings is $7, when I was there. So let me just use my direct converter because 130,000, that means $1,000 a month at the top of the average and at the bottom 230. Thank you for the super chat. We're still waiting on Coop's Corner to come back, so let me go empty out this ashtray and we will take a short break. We're already at the hour mark. We're almost done with the questions as well. All right, we are back. We are back. So Easy Rollins. Oh, I already answered that one. Now, what were you saying?
Bro, I don't even remember what happened. What was what was your last question?
Oh no, I was getting to the next question, right? Oh no, I asked you what are some common misconceptions people have about living in Kenya that you'd like to address?
Okay, common misconceptions. Yeah, Africa's not all dirt roads. Um, Africa is not, lions running around. Yes, Geno Griffin support, absolutely. Cash App Coops Corner, guys. Hey, man, support the channel. Support Auston as well. You understand? Like, we are representation of black men worldwide. So you guys can support Shannon Sharp and all these people, but you got to support the people with boots on the ground. And I'm gonna like push that message out there because it's real. But yeah, man, Nairobi is a well-developed city, man. You know what I mean? Well-developed city. Um, and yeah, just come with an open mind, man. You know what I mean? That's all I can say.
Okay. So the next question is, how do you handle language barriers, which I don't think there is one, and what languages do you find most useful, which I think is English?
Yeah, I mean, English is the money language of the world. We know that. So yeah, English, but I mean, learning. And somebody just let me like not look at the comment section right now. It's getting late. I can tell.
Okay, his internet keeps falling out, but we're almost done with the questions. We had another super chat right here, $5 from Gary Reed. Says, Kuba, I enjoy your India content. Keep up the great content creation. I'll leave that up until he gets back, and thank you for the super chat. Wasn't a good idea. So after this, you guys, we will do an IRL stream because I got to leave in the morning. But I'll do an IRL stream, just chilling around the house, I guess, because I need to wake up early in the morning. I might just have to sleep in my travel time. What's going on, Darshawn? We're just waiting on the guest to come back in. His internet keeps dropping him out. If anybody has any questions, donate to the super chat $5 or more if you want to ask the guest any specific questions. All right, we are back. So somebody said they enjoyed your India content and keep up the great content creation.
Thank you.
The next, but I asked you about language barriers. In my experience, man, Kenya, they speak Swahili there, but you don't need to learn Swahili.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Like they all speak perfect English.
Yeah, because I mean they were colonized by the British, so I mean they got that like King's English out here. Yeah.
So can you talk about any volunteer community service opportunities that are there that you may have done that enriched your experience? Like I went to, what's that bad neighborhood? I'm not gonna call it a bad neighborhood, but it's like a slum basically that they have in Nairobi. Kibera. I went there and I cut hair. One day I cut 5 or 6 people's hair out in the street. Have you done anything similar to that, volunteer community service?
Yeah, like I've donated like a lot of clothes. I don't like film it, but like I said, like I work with a clothing company and I don't wear that stuff like more than once and I just donate it. So yeah, like I've donated clothes. Of course, like I give tips when I can to people like who give good service. So like I said, guys, I'm trying to be a good representation, not just for me, but for you as well when I travel.
Absolutely. And the Kings appreciate that much. So what recreational activities or hobbies have you pursued that are unique in Kenya?
That's a good question. Recreational. Well, that can be a sick answer. But I mean, all right, so for recreation, I like to stay in shape. Now, my like version of staying in shape may be different from other people's. Other people might like to run, I like to lift weights. Sexual activities keep me in shape. Like I'm just being honest, guys. Like it's late right now. I'm gonna say what I want to say. At like 37, I have the stamina of like an 18-year-old. Like I said, guys, it all goes back to that lion analogy. like in America, you might see me head down, walking like, oh man, what am I doing here? When I'm out of America, you know what I mean? I'm a lion for real, for real. So, my activities are, going out to eat. I like to do public interviews. I like to like talk to the people because Kenyan people are cool, man. Like they're like open and like they're always smiling. Um, just like to like explore and just see different things.
Okay. So how do educational opportunities in Kenya compare to the United States, especially for expats if an expat wanted education there?
Mm. Well, education is big in Kenya, guys. Most people that you meet have been to university. Like I would say every person that I met has been to university, and that's college for us. Yeah, I mean, that's like a very big thing. But I've also told some Kenyans too that, education is good, but it's also more so about who you know than what you know. Because I didn't go to college, but most of my situations that have been the best for me have been from just knowing the right people. You know what I mean? And just using your common sense. Like my thing is this. So I'm from Columbus, Ohio, and people know that the Buckeyes play there. But I've always had the mindset that the universe is my university. You know what I mean? Like I don't got no diploma from no school, but I've gotten a lot of education from the world and traveling. So yeah.
It seems that the Kenyans are fairly well educated there compared to other parts of Africa, I would say as well. So, what has living in Kenya taught you about yourself and your own cultural background? That internet, man. I'll tell you this: whenever I was in Nairobi, the internet was perfect. Um, Maybe right now it's not the best, but when I was there, my 10 gigabyte video would be uploaded in less than 20 minutes. So you guys remember I used to do live streams in Kenya a lot, and the internet was great. 5G internet. I don't know how many I had, like 55 megabytes a second. I don't know, but he's back. So
I don't know. Listen, guys, I don't know if it's the internet or if it's like the StreamYard app. I don't know. I'm in like the Twilight Zone. Like I'm tired right now. But what has Kenya taught me about myself? A lot, honestly. Man, it taught me how to be more humble. That's for sure. You got to be humble because you know we can tend to be big headed as Americans, like I said. But once you get out there into the open world, you see how people there are. Like you just see, like you're just a speck, and just be that person. I know this is gonna sound cliche, but like be that person that you want to see in other people. So treat people how you want to be treated. Salute to Tate for the Cash App, and somebody else sent me one too. Salute, salute. Um, yeah, man. Just be a good person, man. That's what like Kenya really taught me. Salute to Will Sharo for the Cash App. Much love, much love for better Wi-Fi. Guys, I don't know if it's my Wi-Fi or not. I'm in an Airbnb. I can like show you guys the Airbnb too, but yeah. So treat people how you want to be treated, right? Um, and just like it just teaches you how to be humble, man. Like seriously, teaches you how to be humble. So yeah.
so would you say Nairobi, Kenya, is a good place for the digital nomad lifestyle?
See, guys, I don't like lying to people and giving them false hope. So I have a situation that's conducive for me. Um, if you're just coming here and you want to be a digital nomad, yeah, it's possible, but it's better to know people on the ground. I'm just gonna be honest. Like it's better to know people. People make your experience, man. Like people can make and break your experience of countries. So you can be a digital nomad, but I would suggest that you know some people here.
Okay. I think for me, I'm a digital nomad technically, and I think that Kenya has a great infrastructure set up, and the culture is good for that as well. So, can you discuss any environmental concerns in Kenya and how they impact daily life? For example, smog in Bangkok.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there was flooding here recently, and I want to, give my condolences to people who lost their lives with the flooding. I don't know how much it affected in Nairobi, but it affected in other regions of the area. Um, Other than that, I mean, they say there's cholera like in like the water, but I haven't had those issues, man. I just kind of, live like a normal life, just try to keep yourself as clean as possible, wash your hands when you use the restroom, just normal stuff that you learn when you're about 5 years old. So, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't there when it was flooding, but I have been hearing about the floods. They have some floods going on there, and they have some going on in Brazil. So uh, I guess those are really. I didn't really experience too many environmental issues. There's not too bad. It was small, really, at all from what I saw there.
Yeah,
So three questions left. What are the biggest challenges and rewards of living in Kenya as an expat?
absolutely. And let me say salute to Gerard for the Cash App. Challenges and rewards. I mean, that's like tatted on me, man. Count your blessings, weigh your options. I mean, everything is going to have its ups and downs, ebbs and flows, right? So I say just the total experience, man. Because we all have those down days, and you have them whether you travel, whether you don't travel. But it's all about the people that you meet when you travel. It's all about the experiences that you collect when you travel. It's all about the knowledge that you gain when you travel. Those are the positives and the negatives that I can take away from it, man. It's a thing that I really want every single man, specifically black man, who I'm talking to. I want you guys to really experience travel. Like it doesn't have to be Nairobi, Kenya. It doesn't have to be any of that. Just get out of America and just see your worth, man. See the world for what it is and how the world sees you, man. Seriously. I want y'all to get out there and do that. Because like we have fun trolling and commenting and stuff, but put your boots on the ground, man. You got one life. You got one life. I remember being Austin's age. What are you, 24, right, Austin?
Yeah, I'll be 25 on Thursday.
Well, happy early birthday, but I can
Thank
remember
you.
like it was yesterday being you're welcome. I can remember yesterday being 24. I was a savage. I was nothing like me. I couldn't have had a passport at 24. I would have been dead, somewhere dead, bro, because I would have been hitting somebody's wife or something crazy. But I would say, guys, travel, man. But like, be ready when you travel, and like, salute to Austin, man, because like traveling, going to all these countries, like at your age, bro, that's not normal. Like that is not the status quo. So I know like I'm going on like a diatribe, but this is a big audience. Like I really want black men to get out there and travel, y'all, because we are the kings of the world. Literally, literally.
Okay, yeah, I would agree. Travel is an eye opener and it's a life changer at the same time. So, looking forward, how do you see your role and experiences evolving in Kenya? Like your role, how is your role in Kenya going from being just a tourist to now an expat? What does the evolution timeline look like?
Yeah. I mean, I say sky's the limit here, man. I built some good relationships. I can only see things going up from here, man, honestly. And just keeping a positive mindset, continuing to grind daily, because it is a grind, and just keeping my ear to the streets, seeing what type of videos I should do here, meeting new people, and hopefully collabing with some more creators while I'm out here, man. But that's not the easiest either, like in Kenya, for me at least. Now, like I have met some cool people to collab with, but meeting like like the I am Maras, I'm trying to like link up with that guy, but it can be a little difficult sometimes.
Okay. So, final question I have for you, and then we'll wrap it up from there. So, what final piece of advice would you give to a Black American considering moving to Africa?
Moving to Africa or Kenya?
Let's be in specific and go with Kenya.
Okay. What advice would I give them? So I would tell them, listen, male or female, Just come with your common sense. Come with an open mind. Come ready to learn. Don't come with that arrogance that like I know that we have, and I say we because I had it too, right? Um, Come ready to be treated differently because you're going to be a foreigner, like I said, and that's like a dope thing once you become a foreigner, guys. I'm telling you, once you become a foreigner, you'll see that the paradigm shifts, right? So like you're gonna have a whole different outlook once you become that. And this goes for anywhere, not just Kenya, not just Africa. So, just pack that common sense, man. Be positive, and things will be good for you.
I would agree. I would agree. I would agree 100%. So that's all the questions I have for you today. If anybody, we have one more super chat, and that's the only question that they had. 13 days sent $5. So planning my first travel content destination soon. What country would you guys recommend first in Africa, Kenya, or somewhere else for content?
For content, I don't want to lie to you. I would say South Africa for content. Uh,
I haven't been there, but I can see why you say that because it's very well developed and there's a lot of stuff to do there. There's a lot of foreigners there. Yeah,
yeah, it's
it's a
different.
vibe from what I saw.
Yeah, South Africa's different, man. I honestly like. It's kind of tough to pick between because, like I said, like I'm kind of like an outlier because I met like a really dope person here, boots on the ground. But when I was in South Africa, it was just man, like South Africa is different, man. Like specifically Cape Town. Cape Town's the most beautiful city that I've ever been to. Kind of like hands down, to be completely honest. I know you've been to Rio, so just imagine Rio on steroids, like super steroids. Um, yeah, I would say South Africa.
I could agree with that. I've seen some photos. It's very beautiful there, and I think the convenience of everything working like it would in America is that enhances the experience. So those are all the questions I have for today. If you want to say anything else to the audience, I know it's late there. If you want to do a
Yeah.
call in, if not, that's fine. But yeah, if you have anything else you
What
want
is
to
the
say to the
calling?
audience,
What is that? What is the
uh,
calling?
what people what people call in and talk to you.
Oh yeah, let's do it, man. This is lit. Nah, this is fun, man.
All right. So I'm dropping a link in the chat, you guys. If you guys have any questions, you want to come here and talk to the guest, hit the link, and we are right here waiting. I give it 5 minutes for you guys to start calling in. If not, we'll have to let the guest go if you guys don't call within 5 minutes. But yeah, I might be back out there in Kenya, man. And I keep saying that, but man, I'm trying to knock this stuff out because once I go back to Kenya, I'm gonna be there for a few months. Like I love it that much where I'm not gonna want to leave. That's why I was there
Mm,
4 months last time.
right. So let me
And
ask
I
you.
loved it.
Let me ask you. What inspired you to go to Kenya?
It was the next country over because what I do is I go to a continent and I'll jump around the continent. So I was in Tanzania and it was like, okay, Kenya is right next to it, so let me go over there. And I loved it so
Mm,
much. I stayed the 10 days like I usually do, and then I went to Uganda, Rwanda, then I came back. Then I went to Zambia for 10 days, then I went back. Then I went to Ghana and Senegal, then I went back. Then I went to Thailand, then I went back to Kenya for one day, but then I haven't been back yet. But the reason I kept going back was just because I felt at home there. I felt at home. I had a huge social circle. The food was good. It was cheap, compared to it was cheap on a worldwide scale compared to being in a place like Romania uh, or Uruguay or the United States. But it was it's just it's my Brazil of Africa. Like Brazil was my place in South America, and Nairobi is my place in Africa.
yeah, yeah, man. Speaking of Brazil, like, how did you deal with all of that like stuff that you were going through there, man? Because that was you were like all over the place, bro. Like plastered everywhere. Like, how'd you like get through that?
Man, it was I had to write a little short book about it. A little short. I think it's like it's only like 20 pages just elaborating on how I felt from my experience, but it was very stressful because I had never been through anything like that. I had been through something similar, but not to that magnitude. And I was so stressed at some point I would wake up in the morning, man, my chest was hurting. Like it was stressing me out that much. But I just had to I just had to ignore it and just keep doing what I was doing. And now I'm at where I am now. But I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back sooner than most people think.
Just like be safe, man, because it seems like a lot of people are. We got more haters than supporters, but yeah, just be safe.
Yeah, I have to be cautious about announcing my whereabouts, especially when I decided, whenever it is, but whenever I decide to go back there, I had to be cautious about letting people know because it was actually an American that was pushing, not that pushed the whole thing, but he was helping feed information to the people that were looking for me. So, yeah, you're right about the haters. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy, man. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't understand why people that look like us want to see us not do good. That just doesn't make sense with me, to be completely honest. Nobody's called in yet?
Somebody just asked in the chat how to call in. I just dropped the link one more time for Easy Rollins or whatever your name was. Easy something. Easy Rollins. Yeah, Easy Rollins. Click the link I just dropped in the chat.
And salute to the person for sending the Cash App. Salute to you. I didn't like catch your name. Wow, okay. So yeah, so like as far as the travel space, man, like I see that you're like connected with pretty much everybody, man. Like I seen Zoom to Thailand on here. I seen Andre on here, Checking Effect. How do you like feel about the black travel space, and do you feel that it's oversaturated?
Uh, I wouldn't say it's oversaturated because we have a bunch of people that have no substance that are also in space that are just taking up space, in my opinion. But it's not oversaturated. It's just the black travel space, or we can call it the passport bros. They it still has a crabs in a bucket mentality. A lot of us need to actually grow up when we leave these places. Like I did. I had to do some maturing when I left. A lot of people aren't doing that. A lot of them are still having the same mentality. Let me bring in the first caller really quick. Easy Trump 2024. What's going on?
Not much, bro. How you doing?
Good to you?
I'm doing good. Just got in for work like an hour ago. Played some Call of Duty.
So what you got for the guests today?
Um, I have done traveling. I used to be in the Navy. Recently, I've been going to the DR. I sneak in and out. But Kenya. I was looking at Ghana for my first trip to Africa. Is Kenya a better trip? And when I come, I plan on staying for at least 2 weeks. And
Okay.
where should I hit up if I come to Kenya? Or is Kenya a better trip compared to Ghana? And if I come to Kenya, where should I go? As a single man.
Okay. Well, I haven't been to Ghana, but I would say definitely come to Kenya. And like if you didn't hear, I am providing tours with a Kenyan woman that knows everything about this city. So
Yeah, I heard
I
that.
would say
Yes.
Nairobi, man. I would say Nairobi, Kenya, man. You would have a great time, brother.
All right. Any well, you said you do tours, so next year I'll
Yeah,
be there.
yeah, bro. Listen, just hit me up on I wish somebody could put my email in the chat. I'll put my email in the chat, man, and just send me an email, man. Like we'll make sure you have a great time.
All right. Appreciate that. Thank you, Austin.
Thank you. Yeah, so if anybody else wants to call in, talk to the guest today, the call-in link is open. I give you guys 5 more minutes because a lot of you guys are not calling in like you guys should be.
Come on,
Oh,
guys,
yeah,
call in, man.
yeah, we got a lot of comments in the chat, but we ain't got no callers, man. Somebody said Uganda is better. Well, let me read this. I don't think it's oversaturated, but few bring anything new or interesting to the table. That's why they fall back to black women bashing to earn a coin. Yeah, exactly, right? a lot of people are just doing the same thing, you know, just showing prostitutes and shit like that, showing prostitutes, you know. Actually, when I think about it, a lot of us in this space really ain't doing shit. If you want to be blunt about it, you know, we if you're new, like if you were Austin Holloman in 2021 when I first found out about this space, you would have had me for like 3 months, and then I'm watching all the people on YouTube. I'm like, okay, now what's new? Like, we get us a lot of beautiful chicks. I've listened to 100 of your videos. What now? You know, that's why I'm constantly trying to evolve. You know, I started off with the women, you know, showing off women and the dating and comparing to that. Then I went to what is the nightlife like in Nairobi? What is the expat community? I'm showing me at Troy's house. I'm doing tours in Bangkok of people's house. And then I go to Latin. I'm going to many places so I can keep diversifying and evolving the content. Now I'm doing interviews, so you just don't get my perspective. You get people like your perspective and stuff like that. But a lot of people are not taking those routes. They're just sticking with ass and titties. And, you know, I like ass and titties. You know, I love it. I can't get enough of it. I can't get enough of it. But, I mean, damn.
Yeah. I would have to agree with that, man. But I think just like with anything, we all evolve, just like you said, right? So I used to watch a lot of Ace live, man. I'm gonna be honest. Like, Ace was a captivating YouTuber, bro. Like, it was like low key like must see TV. But like with anything else, I just kind of just moved on to like looking at different stuff. But yeah, man, I think the space is good because everybody's doing something different. But you do have a lot of riffraff, though. You do have a lot of riffraff.
Ozzy wanted to know where the highest number of Asian women in Africa. You're talking about in specific Chinese. I don't know, but I do know if you go to Madagascar, it's part African and part Indonesian there. It's like a Blasian. It's a Blasian society. Now, let me address this. I think few folks are calling in because most passport bros are not interested in African women. Bullshit. Number one. Number two, hard to say that, but that's the fact. It's not a fact. I'm gonna tell you why it's not a fact. If I wanted to be if I wasn't about traveling the world and trying to explore and show you guys everything around the world, if I wanted a gold mine to sell consultations, to sell travel guides, to make commission off of NC Nairobi's clothes, and if I wanted to get rich, I would move back I would have never left Kenya. That's just not my purpose right now. Right now, more people than you think are interested in Kenya, in Africa in general. More people than you think. And it's not just black people either. I'm telling you from my emails, from my comments, and my consultations. To this day, I've been in Latin America since November. I still do consultations on Kenya to this day. So it's not that people are not interested. He said, that's your opinion. It's not an opinion. It's a fact.
I think that God wanted me to hear that, man. He was spitting some truth, y'all. Like, Kenya is really coming up, man. I mean, it is. And yeah, like as far as consultations, people typically hit me for consultations for hair transplant and teeth stuff, but yeah, I can definitely give you some like real game on Kenya too. But yeah, Austin, man, we gotta chop it up about some of these tailors, man, because I haven't even thought about that since I've been here. As crazy as that may sound.
Yeah, man, if I really wanted to get rich off of YouTube fast, I would go back to Kenya. With what I know right now, I would be back in Kenya. So we got a couple calls. We got Rob right here in the back. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on? Y'all can hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Thanks for having me on. Cool. I've seen some of the content, so I see you doing it. Austin, you always staying up. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia right now, but I'm married to a Kenyan. She's Meru, so I keep the bracelet on. I just want to encourage brothers definitely to go and check out Nairobi. Just the experience of being, African American out there. It's a whole different experience, man. Being able to just really fully live as a human being is something that changed and my perspective, and not always having to worry about, wearing my blackness. So I want to encourage that. I have a question for y'all though. Have y'all ever been out to sort of the Mathaiga area, or even like Alchemist, the Westlands? And also, what is the
Yeah.
rent looking like over there?
Yeah, I've been to Alchemist a couple times, man. Alchemist is cool, and like I didn't go to a club, so I went to Mama Rocks out there because I know the owners, and I went to the one of those places up at the top of it. So yeah, and like rent, like it all depends on where you want to stay at, man. So if you want to stay in Kilimani or Kilileshwa, you're gonna be paying, similar to U.S. prices, like 1,000, 1,500 a month. But if you want to stay like more rural, you'll be able to save some money.
I've heard things similar. The one thing about Kilimani is that they have so many high rises coming up that it's like kind of becoming a slum. And I don't mean slum in any like sort of disrespectful way,
Right.
but some of the zoning, you might get into an apartment and you might have a like amazing view, and a few months later a high rise is right in front of you.
Yeah.
And it's like a foot away.
Yeah.
So, and also I had one more question. How is the flooding like over there? I heard that the flooding has been bad, and like has that really been affecting the infrastructure around the area? Because with global warming, like it's probably only gonna become slightly more of an issue in the future.
Yeah. So yeah, there was some pretty bad flooding going on outside of Nairobi, like in the more rural areas. But in Nairobi, you're not going to get too much flooding. I mean, because this is a major city, so you wouldn't have to worry about that too much.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, I appreciate y'all having me on here. The last time I was out there, I went out to Diani. So if you guys
Oh,
slide to Mombasa, definitely go down to Diani. Resort I stayed at was Swahili Dream. Y'all should definitely check it out. It's a vibe. So, but that's all I got. Y'all keep going. Keep it up with the content and just keep going, brothers.
Thank you.
salute.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, like I said, Austin, Diani, that was where my life changed at, man. Like once I got on that camel, I said never again, bro.
Really?
Legendary. Oh man, that was Diani was something different. Like that trip changed my life. Literally changed my life. Yeah.
So Easy Rollins $5 for is $2,200 a month enough to live good in Kenya? I'll tell you this. I had a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment for $676 near Strathmore University. Now, my gym membership was, and that was for a 3-month lease. My gym membership, gyms really aren't cheap in Africa in general. Like you need to be ready to pay $80 to go to the gym every month.
Yeah.
You factor that in, that's a little over $700. Electricity, water, internet. My internet bill was $70 a month. So we
Yeah.
let's put it around. You could actually have and after groceries and all that, you can have your basic standard, like survival standards of living for like $1,100 in my position
1,000.
where I was at. Yeah,
Yep.
1,000, 1,100. But I was spending around 4 or 5 times that every month. But that was because I wanted to. I was kicking it, fooling with a bunch of women and shit. So whatever set $5 for. The problem with the passport bros is there's no criteria. College graduate, felon, econ. There's no standards. Just be a black man with a passport. I don't know about that one, man, because a lot of those white guys that's traveling too. I don't think they're any. They're just like the Ivy League guys, But that's not really what it's about. It's not about who. Like for example, Andre Love Crossing Borders did
He's
time
a
in
felon.
prison. He's a
Yeah.
felon, and
Oh.
he's somebody that when you're around him, you don't get. I've been around him in person. You don't get felon vibes from him.
No.
He's
No.
very
No.
well educated. So it's
No.
just we don't separate ourselves from the buffoonery. Is what the problem is.
Right. But see, Austin, people should be able to separate just from how some on this platform. They might not
Mhm.
say it, but they know what's up. Just put it like that. They know who's not with the buffoonery, who's not on here just feeling.
Oh, he dropped off again. Um, ask the OCB. You on the panel? What's you on mute?
Sorry about that. What's going on, Austin?
How you doing?
Hey, keep doing what you're doing, bro. You doing you making people proud, man. You living a life that a lot of us wish we were living every day. I'm out here in the DMV working 6 days a week in the rain, in traffic. Hey, live the life. Hey, you and Coop, keep doing your thing, man. Don't worry about haters, man. You know the haters gonna always keep talking. They gonna keep talking,
Right.
they gonna keep hating because people ain't living right. Keep showing people the
Mm.
way and everybody will follow. I've been out to Africa. I've been to Nigeria. I was out there for about a month. Love. It was a lot of love, man. It was a lot of excitement. Lagos was lit. It was lit. It was fun. A lot of clubbing. A lot of beautiful women. Like it's a lot of fun places in Africa, man. Just explore it, check it out. And if you don't like it, you know what it is. That's all I had to say, fellas. Congratulations. Keep up the goodness, man. Don't F them haters, bro.
My man.
Thank you.
Salute,
Thank you.
brother.
All right. So that's it. I guess everybody just wanted to call in for today. So
All right.
if you want to have some closing thoughts, let me read one more super chat. Born Majesty says, I think it's an excellent idea starting a tourism business. I think more brothers in these other countries should do the same. Absolutely, but a lot of us need to wake up and do that, man. That's easy money.
You said that like a lot of brothers can't do what, Austin?
A lot of us we could be, but they're not. You know, it's easy money.
Yeah, like, and you guys are like the first people to really hear about it. You know, me and my significant other, we're taking it serious, and you know, you could be around some cool people, man. You don't got to be around no weirdos, man. So, just to end it off, man, this was a very good live stream. Appreciate you, Austin, for having me on, brother. Keep on doing what you're doing, man. You are a young man, dog, and it's good to see that you're continuing to travel. And you know, like the last person just said, man, it's gonna be haters, but you know, use them as your fuel and keep that jet flying, man. And thank you to everybody that hit the Cash App, supported the channel, supported Austin, and I'll see you guys on like the next one.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. You have a good one. We'll keep in contact. I'll see you whenever
All
I
right,
get back over that way.
All right, brother. You too, man. Peace.
All right, man.